decisions on interpretations of the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The board consists of 5 voting members. It requires 4 affirmative votes for approval of any variance or interpretation. All cases on the agenda will be heard in the order listed. The order of proceeding for each case shall be as follows. Applicant shall present his case. Persons in favor of the variance shall present their evidence. Persons opposed to the variance shall present their evidence. The applicant shall be given a rebuttal period, and then the public hearing will be closed and no further testimony will be accepted. The normal procedures, the board will discuss and take action on the application. All meetings of the board are open to the public. Anyone in the audience who, for any reason, they will speak before the board tonight, please take the stand and take the oath. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth in all matters pertaining to the cases before this Board of Adjustment? Please say, I do. Thank you. Please be seated. Now the roll call. Roy Brown.
Here.
Jane Ogle.
Here.
Jack Lehman.
Here.
Dennis Hart.
Here.
And Robert Jones. Here. The first case on the agenda tonight is case number 19-999-05. It's a continued from a previous meeting. Midwest Sign Company, a variance request to sign requirements for property at 14218 East 42nd Street South. And so I guess we'll do the video first.
Yeah, this is, members of the board can remember, it was a few
Yes.
years ago that you actually approved this sign at just a location very close to this. They brought this application back essentially the same sign, just relocated about, 100 feet from where it was approved before, but never built. This is the northeast corner of this property. I-70 is just on the other side of the fence line.
Okay.
We're looking in up to the northeast.
Okay.
It's somewhat under construction west of here. As we kind of pan around, we're looking to the northwest. And further down, there is a, they built the hamburger place, and then there's a Panda Express that's under construction right now.
Okay.
And this is, it's in this corner, about right through there, about where that roof, that white, the Kmart former building location is. And then this is the building that's right next to it, where the sign was actually going to go before, but for whatever reason, they decided to move it back. I have another one here too. Okay, here we're on the corner right next to them, essentially where the sign was going to go before, and this is the corner of the property. The sign location was going to be just right up there, and as according to see the sign elevation that was provided, somewhat similar to the sign that was erected on, you can see down there at off in the distance. That was approved actually, I believe, the same night, and that one was completed, and this one they held off on.
Okay. All right. All right. So do we have someone here representing the applicant? Okay. Just give us your name and address. And
My name is Tony Russell. My address is
yeah, there you go.
my address is 10302 Knoll Avenue in Overland Park.
Okay. You want to give us a little information on what your plans are in there, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen this one before, so there's not a lot new here. The developer just kind of put the sign off, and the plans got changed around a little bit as they were developing. So it's pretty similar to the one you've seen before, and it matches the one that we already installed on the other part of the property. You know, there's a new developer in there. They're trying to improve the space from what it is now, so they're just looking to develop a little bit. It's kind of in the middle of the property, so it's not likely to affect anyone around them. But they do have a lack of visibility. Like you said, they're building those other two, the Panda Express and the other burger place next to it, so they don't have much visibility on either Noland Road or I-70. So.
Okay. So they're just pretty much basically just moving the sign that was approved before. Is it-
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty much
really
what
not
it
even
is.
moved that far away, just the plans got changed up just a little bit.
Okay. So is it's the same basic design as the other sign too, right?
Yeah, and it's the
Okay.
same as the sign that's already up on the other part of the property.
okay,
They're,
okay.
they're matching.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I don't have any other questions right now. I see where it's from all the determination of practical difficulties, it's met all 6 requirements, all yeses, so that, noticed a typo error on that, down at the bottom after 6. Did you see that? So I put 6 of the above. But other than that, yeah, I don't have any other questions. Does anyone else here on the commission?
We didn't have receive any telephone calls, anything
No,
negative?
it's not unusual for this type of variance request.
Okay,
Actually, it meets 3 of the 6.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's my
Had all
mistake.
yeses, but that's a typo.
That was the typo.
Yeah, sorry.
6
Okay.
of the 6, so I saw that.
So how has this changed, the configuration, the elevation, how has it changed from before? Can you-
As far as the sign goes, I believe it's an identical sign to what was approved before. It's just the location, I think, moved.
But the sign didn't change the height or the width or anything, it's just the location that changed?
Yeah, just the location of it.
And the only reason we're seeing is that it has expired, the 6-month time limit has expired, so that's the only reason we're seeing it.
Well, that and it's moved from one lot to another,
Okay.
maybe 50 feet.
Yeah, 50 to 100 feet, somewhere
Something like
right
that.
there.
Okay.
I don't have any more
I
questions.
don't have any other questions. Do we have someone here
Thank you.
that's, thank you, appreciate it. Do we have any person here, I don't see anybody here opposed to this applicant? Well, since we don't have anybody here opposed, we can go ahead and close this meeting for the public, right? And take a vote,
Mr. Chairman, I am prepared to make a motion
okay?
that we approve case number 19-999-11, 3601 South Sterling. I'm sorry, the wrong one, wrong one. Case number 19-999-05, 14218 East 42nd Street as presented for the
Okay.
variance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so now we will vote. All right, Roy Brown,
Yes?
Gene Ogle,
I vote yes.
Jack Lehman,
Yes.
Dennis Hart,
Yes.
Robert Jones, yes. So case number 19-999-05, Midwest Sign Company, a variance request to the sign requirements for the property at 14218 East 42nd Street South has been approved unanimously. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. All right. Let's see. All right, the next on the agenda tonight is case number 19-999-12, no, pardon me, -11. A variance request to sign requirements for the property located at 3601 South Sterling Avenue here in Independence. And I guess we have the video you're going to show.
Yeah,
Stuart?
St. Paul's United Methodist Church at this address on South Sterling seeks 3 variances to install a monument sign with an EMC in front of their property. First is the maximum area of a monument sign is 32 square feet. They're over 32 square feet by about almost 2 square feet. The second is the electronic message center component of the sign may comprise only 25% of the sign's total area. They're going to be 37.5, and then EMCs are prohibited within 100 feet of a protected area, and they are in more or less a protected area. Okay, this is the location. This is their existing sign. You see on your example that they provided, this is similar. I mean, this is basically the existing sign. They want to put the new sign immediately to the left of the existing one.
Okay.
Under this, whatever that is there. Here we're looking north on Sterling,
Mhm.
and then across the street.
Okay.
Here to the west and then to the southwest,
Mhm.
south. You can see this area of Sterling is all residential. Here's the parking lot that, sort of a U parking lot that is in front of the church. And this sign has been there for years, and there it is. Let's see if there's anything else on the thing.
Okay, do we have someone here representing the St. Paul Methodist Church? And I guess give us your name and phone number, please. Excuse me.
Good evening. My name is Anshul, and I am the pastor
Okay.
at St. Paul United Methodist Church. My phone number is 660-864-1592.
Okay. All right. And you all are just going to a more modern type sign and LED, with an LED where you have the events going on and so forth, that it's on like a screen. Isn't that kind of what that's an LED?
That's what
type?
we're looking to do. When I was appointed to the church 4 years ago, we at that point, well, at this point, we've been a part of the community for over 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time that St. Paul was a much more vibrant church than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
We've recently gone through a name change. We're now doing business as a Celebration on Sterling. And our desire is, as with any church, is to become much more vibrant, growing, and have a positive impact in independence. Like I said, we've been a part of it for a long time. Our sign, recently we've undergone major renovations inside the church as we're kind of moving to a more contemporary platform.
Mm-hmm.
With all the events and new things that are coming up, we want a way to convey that to our community. We want a way to convey also other things that we're offering to the community as far as single mothers are concerned, and after-school programs, so on and so forth. Right now, our sign is falling down, and so we know we have to replace it. And the church's desires to replace it with something that is going to help us achieve the goals of being a vibrant church and also being an important and helpful part of the community. If we were to do the message display, the majority of people that would be impacted will be across the street, but they're going to be perpendicular to the sign. They're not going to see it very much. The distance on the side of the street that we're on is quite a bit of distance to the one house that's to the left of us, or to the right. Don't ask me north, south, and east and west. I get confused about that. But we have one house, and to the other side is just the corner of the street, and there's not an additional house that's going to be impacted. With the message display, we also have the intention of, we haven't completely decided, but probably about 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, we're going to shut the sign down. We'll have the ability to do that. So it wouldn't bother anyone during the evening. And we're just hopeful that that you would allow us to have the sign. We think it would be very beneficial in communicating with our community.
I would like to add here that the code actually requires that in this protected area, The sign is supposed to be turned off from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that goes along with what he's talking about.
Which we'd be happy to do.
What do you mean by protected area? I don't understand that.
Well, the
It's not
protected
building
area-
setback or anything like that.
A protected area is defined as a residential district, non-commercial park, open land, street intersection, community park, or nature preserve. Any of those things. And as you know, he's right in the middle of a residential district. We had a similar application on 39th Street a couple of years ago. Same situation,
Okay.
similar situation.
I'd also like to mention, we are in the residential area, approximately just 2 blocks away, and everything turns into commercial as you intersect with 40 and Lowe's and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
we're right next to where everything changes.
Mm-hmm. No, up on north there to 35th Street, you have a station, you have some commercial and other
Yes, sir.
Businesses there on that, both corners, on northeast and southeast corners. I don't have any other, I noticed the city was, on their comments, let's see here, and on number 3, requiring strict compliance with the subject zoning regulation will constitute a practical difficulty. I'm just reading it as it's typed out. For the subject property owner, no, as the church can install a sign without a EMC and reduce the sign area slightly and thus not require any variances. Well, I could see that as a yes also because, I mean, you're not talking about an enlargement as such. You're just talking about moving it further.
Actually, there was
West.
some question in regards to what you were looking at. And what you're looking at, do you have, yes. So what you're looking at is our current sign, and then immediately to the left of it is a metal pole that we use to put a banner that we can replace the letters on.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have a special event coming up, instead of having a digital message display, we just put a big banner. What we'd like to do is the left edge of that metal vertical pole.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to move the sign to that point. That would be its starting point, which is still the proper distance
Oh, I
from the
see.
center line of Sterling. So basically, the sign would,
Okay.
this edge,
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see that on
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
I didn't-
they have the diagram of it.
I just didn't
So,
notice
yeah,
that's what it
Be sure to speak in
was.
the microphone, though.
I have a question.
yes, sir.
Did the sign company tell you how long it would take to erect this sign?
How long it would take?
To build the sign? In other words, I'm wondering if why you couldn't perhaps just remove the one that's damaged and put the new one at that same spot, how long it would take, if that would be causing problems for identification, and if it were gonna take longer than a week, for example.
Well, you mean as far as putting it back in the same location?
Yeah.
Well, they would, I mean, I believe the church would just,
You want to just step up
it's
and
gonna
give us?
take us about 4 or 5 weeks to actually produce the sign. And I know that they would like there's enough it's not a violation of any variance or anything to move the sign close. They do have that ability within the right of way to do that, and that's just all they're wanting, is just to get a little bit closer to the road. So there's really no reason as far as the production of the sign that has anything to do with moving it.
So, okay, my question then is, the new sign could be prepared, and then it wouldn't be that long to remove the old one and install it. I was curious about that.
No, and I guess the church, I mean, as far as removing that sign,
Actually, we have our complete bid from the company we'd like to use to build the sign. We also have a bid from a construction company we've used many a time to demo this sign.
Okay.
And take it out, do a little bit of leveling as the property slants up to the road just a little bit. So we're gonna build a rather large leveled area, so it doesn't look like it's just a platform sticking up a sign. So it looks like it's gonna flow with the property, and then put the new sign on.
Okay, so having the sign where you want it is, it's a much better location visually.
Yes, sir.
If you replaced the old sign, the existing sign, you would not have the visibility because of the trees and so forth that I'm seeing there. Is that,
Yes,
is
sir.
that a logical assumption?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, the setback is not an issue here, though.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Well, that's what I thought, that visibility would be easier for people to see it coming both
Yes.
directions on Sterling Avenue, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you all have any other comments on the board here? Let's see here. I see here on 5, it says the alleged hardship has not been created by any person presently having interest in the property. No, the church's property owner seeks to utilize EMC. Well, that's has to do with the, what do you call, LED and all the new sign technology. Is that what you're trying to say there?
No, that relates to if there was some problem there that was not of their creation. There was there in this case, the variance is relating to something they seek to do, not a condition that was there prior to them. Let's say there was a stream here, and they had no involvement in the stream being there. They just want to do something that relates to the setback or something that relates to the stream and not to anything that they did themselves. In this case, they are seeking the variance for something that they plan to do themselves. It doesn't relate to any external conditions that
Okay.
don't relate to the company or the church. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so we could perhaps answer that technology has changed, and in a sense, to keep up with technology, to keep up with what's necessary these days to get people in the church, get them off of whatever they're doing, and go into a deeper relationship with God, that condition is basically the changing times. It's not that you necessarily created that hardship. It just came about by new needs
Yes, sir.
that are generated by this whole new scenario. So that's how I would answer that. It's alleged hardship. They really didn't create it. It's just something that has
Due to
happened.
social conditions and
Due
norms.
to changing social conditions. Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then the requiring number 3, we're supposed to answer all of these objections, on these comments. That's one of our roles here
Yes,
as
sir.
commissioners and fellow citizens. So requiring strict compliance would create a practical difficulty. Well, you could install a sign without an EMC. Well, that's not going to really work because of the technology, and you're wanting to reach the people. And the question is, reduce the sign area slightly. What is the issue with that? Why can you not, maybe he could answer why you don't want to reduce the sign area slightly.
We have put an exorbitant amount of time, energy, and money into revitalizing the church, into renovations, into a lot of technology on the inside, sound, video. And our desire is to reach the means of the community and the needs of the community. The more that we can have something that gets that message out, the more beneficial it will be for us and for the community.
Okay.
Well, for my part, just speaking on behalf of the church, and I've got no affiliation with the church, the speed of the traffic going by, a little larger sign would probably enter into the design of it. Would be my
Or it'd
thing.
be easier to see.
Thank you for putting things better than I can.
Yeah. Because really you have to, if you put a sign up there, you want people to drive by, see it.
Exactly.
I mean, if they can't see it, if it's going to be a little bit further west, it's actually going to be more visible than it would be if you put it right back where it is, or
Yes,
didn't
sir.
do anything.
Yes, sir.
So you understand, my comment was not a negative comment, it's just our needing to answer these,
And I'm sure
criteria.
I didn't do a good job in trying, as I was trying to understand what everything was on the application, which I'm assuming that's what these are
no,
from.
that's not even the issue.
Okay.
I was just addressing the staff comments.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So-
My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, we have to put as Roy was saying, we have to, sometimes we can see it as a, if they say it's a no, we can see the other side as a yes with the different, as Roy was talking about, technology has changed,
We put a different spin on it.
different spin. That's a good way to put it.
Right.
Okay.
I don't have any more.
I don't have any other questions.
No questions.
Do we have anybody else in the audience that's here to oppose the applicant? Well, we can close the,
I can say that, I believe we received one call on this one. and
oh, you
once-
did?
Once it was explained what was going on, I don't think they had any objection to
Okay,
it.
I meant to ask you. Okay, well, thank you for speaking, Pastor. We appreciate it, and we'll make our decision here. I don't have any other questions. I think it's, to me, it makes sense. We will go ahead and close this meeting to the public, and therefore we will make our decision and vote on this application. All right.
I think it's a reasonable request, and I'd like to see churches be involved in the community, not be, involved in, putting a moat around themselves and being a cloister, that they're actually part of the community, and
Mhm.
I think that's what they're trying to do, and it's not easy.
So do I have a motion
I'll
So
make,
I'm prepared to make a
to approve
motion.
this application?
Excuse my rambling.
That's all right.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve case number 19-999-12, 18675 East 39th Street as presented.
And do I have a second?
I'll say,
Oh, well,
Hold on, we got the wrong address.
you want to change that? Yeah, 30,
Get the wrong number again?
yeah, 30,
I'm living out of my future. Just-
3601 South Sterling Avenue? Is
Yeah,
that,
that's wrong, yeah. I'll adjust my motion. Done that twice now.
that's all right.
I'm living ahead.
Mr. Hart, you were the second on that case, on this?
Yes, I'd be glad to. I'd second it.
Okay. Now we will vote on this application. Roy Brown,
Yes?
Gene Ogle,
I vote yes.
Jack Lehman,
Yes.
Dennis Hart,
I vote yes.
and Robert Jones, yes. So case number, I'll get it right here in a minute, 19-999-11 Royal Signs. A variance request to the sign requirements for the property located at 3601 South Sterling Avenue has been approved unanimously. Thank you, folks, for coming. We really appreciate it. Okay. Now, our last case on the agenda tonight is case number 19-999-12 Infinity Signs, a variance request to ground sign requirements for the property at 18675 East 39th Street South. So we will look at the,
Yes, Infinity
Video.
Signs seeks to install a new shopping center sign at this location. They need two variances to do this. One relates to the sign height, and the other relates to the sign area. This is the location that they want to install the sign. It's essentially a replacement, an update of this sign that's been out there for a number of years. I'm not sure the number, but in any case, it goes approximately in the same location. It's a different, it's got a different style, as you see the sign elevation in your packet there. And we'll take a tour of this. I'm sure everybody's been by this place many times, right there adjacent to Independence Center. Across the street is a commercial area, and there is the access ramp for 210. And it's going around to the northeast and then to the east again. And here's the sign, and we go down. This is the shopping center to the right that the sign pertains to. It's been there a number of years. So the applicant, again, the applicant is Infinity Sign, and they seek the variances for the sign height and sign area.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do we have someone here representing the applicant?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Eric Pickett with Infinity Sign Systems.
Okay.
And as you can see, there's a brand new owner of this particular property, and it's always been somewhat challenged, even though it's been next to Independence Center. Kind of on the west side, it's kind of down, for not a very good architectural term, it's down in a hole, if you will.
Right.
So the tenants have always had difficulty, people finding the right driveway and that kind of thing, and it's kind of a unique property. As you can see on the tenant listing, over half of them are local small businesses. They do not have, they're not like corporate franchises, which I think is pretty unique. And the owner kind of challenged me on the design. He wanted something that was a little bit more fashion forward, that reflected the economic vitality of 39th Street. We hear so much in the news about gloom and doom, about the decreasing brick and mortar. He wanted to know if there's a way that I could make this, in his terms, look a little bit more cool and fashion forward, kind of like the sign we did down by the Macy's entrance at Independence Center that you all approved for me a few years back. He really liked the look of that, and he really liked the look of this design. At the time, I think this sign might have been installed in like the mid-'80s, if memory serves, but
Okay.
we kind of felt with the column look and the finial balls, it just looked very, very dated. With the new concept, we can of course go in with LED lighting, which is going to reduce power consumption, give them a more vivid, equitable light, even in the winter months when traditional fluorescent lamps would look kind of dim and dingy, and just give it an overall improvement, kind of visual appeal of the property. And I don't know if you have any technical questions. This new design, in essence, takes up approximately the same airspace as the existing sign,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Is the
A couple inches off here and there.
Is the height about the same?
The height is about the same. It's kind of a unique installation in that we're gonna repurpose that paver stone base, if you will. So the overall height elevation is about 3'4" variance. The end of the sign that's toward 39th Street is only about 17'6", which is about the height of the existing sign. But when you add on the paver stone, it's about 3'4" on the building side. So it kind of depends on what part of the grade you're taking your overall height dimension from. But in essence, it's taken up essentially the same amount of space as this existing sign. We just tried to put more emphasis on the square footage where the tenants are, tried to be a little bit more upscale with kind of the angular design at the top. The new building owner is putting a lot of money and investment in the property in terms of new HVAC. He's painting all the storefronts, so he's really making a conscious effort to get the last 30% or so of the space leased, which is exciting, I think, and is a reflection of wanting to do business in Independence in terms of the investment to, again, to kind of be on the forefront of keeping the economic vitality there. It's kind of a weird conundrum in my business, and you see it. I'll get called in like a lot of times in towns where and it's mainly like town squares the business has dried up, and the first thing they say is, well, we need big nostalgic-looking signs again. So this, again, is more of a plea and an empathy from the smaller businessman that this is mainly his sole source of advertising and wayfinding to get people there. And I'll get off my soapbox on the virtues of outdoor signage, but the Small Business Association puts a lot of weight on signage to the point that they say, you know, decent, effective on-premise signage can make or break a small business. So I appreciate your consideration.
Is this, it's attractive, it's just, it doesn't have the LED where you have the display and all that, right?
Oh, no, sir.
It's
It's
not
a
gonna be that
static
type.
display.
Okay.
The LED lighting is actually in lieu of traditional fluorescent lighting that would be behind all these white panels, or in essence, plexiglass. The only thing will light up here is what you see in white, all the tenants. The Independence Plaza is all non-illuminated.
Okay,
You won't
so
see
the-
that at all at night.
But the other will be lit for people to see it.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, if it wasn't lit, they wouldn't see it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it'll be a nice, consistent lighting. You won't see the hot and cold streaks of fluorescent lamps, and during the winter months, it will not be dingy and gray because LED lighting's not affected adversely with the cold weather. So it'll be a nice, even, fresh look.
Okay,
I have another question.
go ahead.
Do you know the approximate height from the top of the arch of the existing sign to the bottom where the shadow is there? Not no, above that, above. From the bottom of the sign itself, not the, from there up to the top of the arch. Do you know what that dimension is approximately now? Is that about 15 feet or is it less?
I'd say it's about 14.6.
Okay, so what you're proposing is the actual portion of the sign which contains the graphics of the individual tenants is basically the same size as the existing sign that also contains graphics, excluding the base and the surround design that says Independence Plaza. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The client felt on this sign, and this is kind of a trend in retail development overall, that original sign had too much emphasis on the Independence Plaza, where
Yes.
now we kind of make it more of a little design moniker, and then that way the tenants get the majority of the exposure.
Right.
Makes sense.
Very
Makes
appropriate.
sense, makes sense, yes. On one of these, as we talked, the alleged hardship, and this is number 5 on the staff comments, has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property. No, the city says. The applicant could use the existing legal non-conforming signage. Well, that's not what you're wanting to do. You want to make it more attractive. You're trying to make it where people can see it, where it'll just be more attractive, and where now it's it's okay, but it's not really, whereas the new sign's going to come out and actually be more presentable.
Absolutely, and I think it's a better value to the client, you know, when, kind of like refurbishing sometimes. I mean, my grandpa used to call me putting lipstick on the pig, but if you're only spending a few more dollars to get it brand new, it just seems like a common sense approach, and it's a better value to the community as well.
Well, I could see that as a yes, and as Roy is talking about, we have to look at where sometimes we can see a yes there versus, well, sometimes the staff sees it as a no, and so in that particular instance, I feel we can say yes there on that item number 5. So,
Could you explain your reasoning in answer to the staff's comment that there are properties in the area that have been converted to lower, smaller monument signs. How do they differ from what you have? Do they don't have the disadvantage that you have because your property is in a lower elevation and not as easily seen as some of these other signs? Is that true? I don't want to put words in your mouth, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, I believe that is true. And to my knowledge, I personally don't know, unless it's new development, if it's something that's been grandfathered, I'm not aware of any signs that have made smaller where they had the option of the grandfather clause, if you will, to keep the existing sign. Just, I haven't personally worked on that. I know the new developments comply, but oftentimes they've only got like 3 or 4 tenants, where I've got to try to satisfy 12
Right.
here.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, given the 39th Street corridor, kind of over there by Kohl's, they've got a pretty magnificent size sign. And I'm not saying we have to compete with them by any stretch, but it looks congruent with that corridor.
Right.
Fine. Okay. I don't have any more questions.
I have none.
Do we, I don't see anybody in the audience, so we don't have anybody here.
No, there were no calls on this.
And no calls, okay. Well, Eric, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming. We will make our decision. And
Thank you very
And
much.
the public hearing will be closed as of now. So we shut off the public hearing. Thank you. All right. I think it's kind of similar to our previous applicant. They had, I think, for these folks here to make it, they're in the business to make money, and we're here we have to vote on certain things, but by the same token, they have to have a sign there that people that drive by can actually see and be attractive. And to me, I don't see, I see that this should be approved.
Well,
That's
being a long-time resident here, I've never really paid attention to that sign. I know the buildings, I shop in there, and I'm looking at this sign, it's, man, it's really in a class by itself and needs to be upgraded. And so I think this is a good design. It follows what's in vogue today with, design, and that's what you need to sell. So I don't have any problems with it. I think it's an improvement myself.
Do you have any other?
I'd like to make a
comments?
quick comment. I had my first clinic in that shopping center right there. That was not there, and it was very difficult to get people to know where I was talking about. I had to say I'm west of Sears in the Independent Center Shopping Center. And I like the dark, I can read that a lot better than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It gets your attention
Yeah.
before this does.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way I see it. Do I have any other comments from our board members? I don't, to my way of thinking, I think it should
Mr.
be
Chairman?
approved. Okay.
I would like to make a motion that case 1999-12, the 2 variances be approved as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, now we will take the vote. Roy Brown,
Yes.
Gene Ogle,
Yes.
Jack Lehman,
Yes.
Dennis Hart,
I vote yes.
and Robert Jones, yes. So case number 19-999-12, Infinity Signs, a variance request to ground sign requirements for the property located at 18675 East 39th Street South has been approved unanimously. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Good evening. Okay, well, the last on the agenda tonight is the minutes, and we can just do that by voice. Isn't that correct? The
Yeah,
minutes from-
unless there's any corrections, it can stand approved as presented.
From what I can tell, there's no
Stand approved as presented.
stand approve as presented. The minutes from the Let's see, April the 18th, 2019. Approval of the minutes as they are here and written. We will vote on it by voice. Those approving, say yay. Yay. Those opposed, say nay. The yeas have it. So the meeting, the approval of the minutes has been done, and we are adjourned. Thank you, guys.